Hey friends, Alex Fisher here. So for this month, we're going to talk about how to be better at pitching the golf ball. Stick around, and in this video, we'll talk about the sort of couple of things that you can do within your setup and the swing itself to make you more consistent. Okay, so let's get to it. So how do we become better at pitching around the greens? Really important because we're not always going to hit greens in regulation, so we need to get up and down and give ourselves a chance of saving par or making bogey at worst. So difference between pitching and chipping. Very simple. Chip shot is a low lofted shot that rolls, whereas a pitch is more of a high lofted shot that doesn't roll quite as much. But when it comes to pitching, we have to understand that our body doesn't work the same way as it may do in a full swing. And what I mean by that is, in a full swing, your hands and arms typically will start the backswing, and then you'll start to create more shoulder rotation and hip rotation to get to the top of the backswing. Well, when you pitch, if we're not making a full swing, our body is not going to rotate as much as it would do in a full swing. That's really, really important to think about there. So you can actually take the golf club back almost to your right hip here before we start to see really any upper body and lower body rotation going back. And the mistake I see most people do is that when they hit shots, they'll over rotate their body on a small swing. And the drawback to that is that you're going to end up bottoming the club out too soon because your weight's behind the ball. So we want to make sure that we rotate the right amount as we go back. Now, on your full swing, you're going to create full hip and shoulder rotation before the arms and hands get back to the ball. So it's really important when we're pitching that we do rotate through. And our body is actually going to rotate before the club head gets back to the ball. Very important because that protects where the low point of the swing is going to be. So what can we do in our setup to be better at pitching? Well, first thing, I would have you set up with the ball just more in the center of my stance. Okay, playing in the back of my stance causes me to tend to kind of want to rotate back too much, too soon. But also my upper body is going to hang back as well. So the chances of me getting left or to my front foot on the follow through, it's going to be pretty tricky to do. So definitely start off with the weight a little bit more on your left side, balls in the center of my stance. Now if I do have a tendency to chunk it or hit the ground early, one thing that you can do is you can go ahead with your back foot, go ahead and turn that back foot in just a little bit. What that'll do is it'll act as a brace. So it limits your ability to go ahead and rotate going back. But if you're a blader, if you're the one that you're not able to get the ball up in the air, one thing you can do to promote better rotation through the ball, which is what we need to do to make sure that we bottom out ahead of the golf ball, is to go ahead and open this front foot up a little bit. So to avoid chunking, turn this foot in. To avoid blading, go ahead and turn that foot out. But ultimately, we want to make sure the ball's in the center of our stance. We want to make sure our weight's on our front. And then from here, very little rotation going back. And make sure that the chest rotates going through. Remember, in a pitch, you're only going to turn one way. And like in a full swing, you're going to turn two ways. Full swing, rotate back, rotate forward. And when we pitch, we're not going to rotate our body going back, but we are going to rotate our body going forward. And again, super important to make sure that you bottom the club out after the golf ball. So try that out. Hope that helps, and look forward to hearing from you soon.